Mamma mia, here we go again, guys. We're doing another one. This time it's the Supreme Fantasy Football League. It's a league full of a bunch of lawyers. Lawyers suck. But that's their words, not mine. Their words, not mine. It's in the fine print on the form. You guys said it.
Appendix C, Article 4, fine print.
But anyways, I'm Zach. We got Dennis and Alex with me here today. We're doing a custom fantasy pod here for your guys' redraft league. And basically, there's not much to it here. We're going to go team by team, give you a quick breakdown, and look at your draft and talk about things we like, things we might not have liked, things we would have done differently. Probably talk some shit to a few of you because that's like the most fun part, to be honest. And then at the end, we'll probably just, give you who each of us thinks is probably going to win this year. But anyone got anything else before we just kick it off? All right, cool.
Let's do it.
I'm going to go first, and the first team I'm going to start here off is Sweetness. I don't believe we had any notes on Sweetness. No, we don't. But it wasn't like too many notes on people in general, just mostly that you guys have been, this league has been going almost as long as I've been alive, which is pretty cool. And most of you guys is like a lot of old vets in the league, which, you'll love to see that. So hope to provide some fun and some extra smack talk for you guys. But here we go. Sweetness. First round, he started off with Josh Allen. He was the quarterback 2 taken in the draft. And I don't hate that he's the quarterback 2 taken in the draft, but I hate that you took him in the first round of a 1 QB league.
Yep.
Sorry to say that, but yeah, that happened, but you got to deal with it. And he swung it back around and he took Derrick Henry as your second pick, which I'm not a fan of. You had Waddle, AJ Brown, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Ooh, man, on their draft board, it just says A Brown for both. Oh, wait, the St. Brown. The Saint is above it, so it just says A Brown on the bottom line. Well, that's confusing. Shit, even Travis Kelce was somehow available in round 2. That's the one. That's the one that you should have done. The Derrick Henry, this has seemed like the year that maybe the wheels might have started to fall off. And correct me if I'm wrong, he just got out touched, right? This week?
Yeah, I got out snapped for sure.
Yeah, that's what I thought. So yeah, not a good look for your second round pick. Turning 3 and 4 around with Debo and Devontae Smith, though, I'm pretty down with that. Even though Ayuk was the star of the show Sunday, Debo still had himself a pretty nice game. And I don't think we need to get into Devontae. Everybody saw last night's game, and he was really good in week 1 as well. That dude's a bona fide stud. You drafted J.K. Dobbins in round 5, which I can't even crap on you for. If we had recorded this before week 1, I would have been like, sweet, you just got him in round 5. Great pick, man. I would have been talking all about how I love this pick. But unfortunately, to not your fault or anybody's fault or whatever, any fault of you could think of, it's just a fluke thing and he's out, and that sucks. But it really sucks for a guy, just like, of course it happens to that type of guy who, has already had one really bad, like career, like substantial career injury, and then finally works his way back, has his like season where he's like working it back up and picking up carries and gaining steam, and then now it's finally like the J.K. Dobbins train is here, and then it's boom.
Right before it was just time to get paid too.
Oh God. Yeah, it sucks. I feel for a guy like that. That's one Achilles injury I feel for. After J.K. Dobbins, round 6 was Cortland Sutton. He was your wide receiver 28 taken overall. Don't hate that. Not in love with him. But he had a nice week 1. And I know Jerry Jeudy was out, but I just look forward to him to be a pretty steady Eddie kind of guy. And I don't hate it as a wide receiver 3. Getting Kamara for your running back 3, I also don't hate. It's kind of a nice gamble at this spot in the draft, taking him running back 26. Although I would have taken a handful of guys who went behind him instead, like James Cook, DeAndre Swift, Miles Sanders. I would have taken all those dudes ahead of Kamara because it's a redraft and you're already missing games. But the fact that Kamara is your running back 3 now thrust into your 2 spot is not great, Bob. But luckily for you, the next round you drafted Brian Robinson, who I kind of become a fan of in like the stupidest way because he's just like the least sexiest pick. But in round 8, going running back 31, he's just going to be fine. Like this team and the staff shows they're just going to feed him carries and they're just going to feed him carries. And they're going to look at Antonio Gibson and they'll be like, fuck you. And they're just going to give the ball to Brian Robinson. So he might not be good and he might not do a ton with it, but he's going to get a lot of work. And where he goes in drafts, like I'm all about that. Round 9, Ravens defense. Defense is defense. They're really banged up right now, but they always end up usually playing some pretty solid defense overall. But whatever, like I said, it's defense. Round 10, Tyler Higbee, the tight end 12 overall. He's your starter, which I'm fine with. Matt Stafford can still sling it. Newsflash. So I think Higbee is going to be fine. Round 11, Harrison Butker. I think this is a home run pick because he has Butt in his name. And round 12, Jared Goff. I think Goff is a totally fine backup quarterback. You're going to probably have to drop him, though, and add some running. Well, I guess you could drop Dobbins and pick someone up there. But you still only have 3 receivers. I just don't know in a 1 QB in a shallow bench like this if I'm rostering a backup quarterback.
So I just want to circle back to Tyler Higbee.
Yeah, go ahead.
He was dropped.
Oh.
For Luke Musgrave.
I mean, I see the upside, so it's not the worst, but I think with the way, especially the way Stafford played week 1, that's not a move I'd be making. Now, had the Rams offense come out and looked like I think what we all had expected of it, I think that would have been a much more reasonable move. But Stafford changed my opinion a lot, and I know it's 1 game, but I think we undersold what he has left, and we also undersold McVay again a little bit.
And they added Joshua Kelly as well, which is a pretty solid pickup.
Yeah, I like that pickup a lot.
Yeah, I think he was the waiver wire ad of the week.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
RB room is looking pretty nice now.
Yeah, since you were able to get Kelly, that's a huge advantage. I think this is going to be a pretty borderline team. Really dependent on Henry, really. If Henry can just do some Henry stuff, and you know what, maybe they're just trying to save him a little bit for the stretch because that's when he does the most damage, and they really want to make sure he's fresh. Who knows? But this team's probably going to ride or die with him.
You can start 1 running back in this league. Are you still starting Henry over Josh Kelly this week?
Yeah.
Yes, because Titans play really damn good run defense. They're a pass funnel D. I forgot about the starting 1 running back thing though. So good call.
Yeah, I would agree with. I think it's like a middle of the pack kind of team. I am wondering if their scoring settings for defense is kind of weird. I know like Cowboys did awesome, but they dropped 48 points last week. And then a lot of teams went early on defense, which isn't very common. So I'm just curious. I couldn't find it. I'm not super familiar with the MFL format.
Yeah, not at all over here.
As far as this team, my biggest concern is probably your wide receiver 3. I'm not thrilled with Cortland Sutton as your wide receiver 3. I mean, week 1 was his time. That was his shot. That was his time to shine. I know he gave you 13.2 fantasy points, but it was 4 catches for 32 yards. He happened to score a touchdown. 15% target share. That's what you did with no Jerry Jeudy, and Greg Dulcich left the game early.
Yeah. And just having three in general is when you have to start 2 wide receivers. Like I think depth at wide receivers, I think you got to have at least 4.
Yeah,
I know it's a small team, but still.
I would prefer to start a wide receiver in the flex as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be dropping Goff for another wide receiver here for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You don't need a second quarterback in this league. Not with these tiny benches, 1 quarterback. There's going to be plenty of guys
it's
who
a
can grab
tiny
off the
bench
waiver
for me.
wire. And you got Josh Allen.
If they had, I don't know, 4 more bench spots or something. I don't know what the difference is between what this is and what a standard league would be. I didn't count or anything, but let's just say it's 4. If those 4 were there, I'd say, hell yeah, I roster a backup. But you're going to be in a position to where, let's say Allen goes down, you're going to get a starter. Like, you're going to be able to stream from there somewhat. It's not like you're just totally screwed. I mean, you kind of are, but if it's Allen, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Alex, you go next.
All right. My first team is 6. This guy scored the 4th most points in week 1. So off to a decent start. He picked 9th overall in the draft. He started with Nick Chubb in the first round, which I don't hate. I really like Nick Chubb a lot this year. And that offense showed a little bit of signs of life in week 1. He had a nice, I believe it was a 14% target share, which we all predicted that he was going to see more targets this year. And he didn't have that high of a target share at all his entire 2022 season. So I like Nick Chubb still just as much as I did coming into the draft. Garrett Wilson, though, in round 2, big hit with losing Rodgers. And not just losing Rodgers, but now it being Zach Wilson as the quarterback. That's just like a double negative to him. You lost Rodgers, but now you also have to deal with Zach Wilson. It's not like you have, some decent backup quarterback back there. And then in round 3, you went Justin Herbert as your quarterback. Not bad, a little early for my liking. I also believe it was the beginning of the 3rd round as well, because I think it was a 3rd round reversal. So this was
3rd round reversal.
Yeah, so this was an early 3rd round pick. So a little bit of reach there, but looks like a lot of teams did that in this draft anyway. So Christian Watson in round 4, missed week 1 with the hamstring, as we know. Status still up in the air for week 2. But Jordan Love looked decent in week 1. I don't think he was as good as a lot of people are saying he was, going against a terrible Bears defense.
Yeah.
But definitely, he definitely didn't fail. That's for sure. So good sign there. Darren Waller in round 5. He's your tight end 1. Really, we're just hoping that this hamstring injury is not an issue. If he can stay healthy, which I'm concerned about this hamstring. It sounds like it's already lingering, and that might be a little bit more to it than just your typical hamstring injury. But if he can stay healthy, I think he can absolutely be a top 3, top 4 tight end for you. So you have some nice positional advantage there. And then you went Isaiah Pacheco in round 6. I like Pacheco a lot this year. I think I would probably wait until at least round 7 to take him, but I don't hate it in round 6. He had a nice week 1. He got involved in the passing game a lot more than we've seen him in his rookie year. He ran 19 routes, which was 3 more than Jerick McKinnon. So he should get the goal line work and some additional passing game work than what we saw last year. So that's exciting for Pacheco. Dave Montgomery also had good usage. You took him around 7. 79% of the snaps in week 1. I know Gibbs looked fantastic in his very limited touches that he had. And Gibbs' role is going to grow throughout the year. I don't think anybody doubts that. However, I think it's pretty obvious that David Montgomery is going to have a significant hold in this backfield. He's going to get a ton of carries. He's going to get goal line work. And this is why we were afraid to draft Gibbs, or at least I was. And it's already coming true, even though Gibbs is a fantastic talent. So I like David Montgomery there in the 7th round, and that hasn't changed for me at all after week 1. In round 8, he drafted Deontay Johnson, which great value here in round 8. However, he was dropped this week to pick up Romeo Doubs, which I'm not a fan of that move whatsoever.
Do they have IR?
I think so.
Yeah, they do, because Jonathan Taylor is on IR somewhere.
Yeah.
However, I don't know if he's eligible for IR.
That's what I was
He's
going
not
to say. Do
actually
you have
on
to
IR.
actually be on IR?
I think you have to either be on IR or you have to be designated as out. So you could have waited.
Yeah.
You could
They
have
moved
waited
into
until he was
doubtful,
listed
too.
as out. So that was an unfortunate move, because I think there were a couple other people I would have dropped before I dropped Deontay Johnson. And I'm not a huge Romeo Doubs fan either. I talked about Cortland Sutton. That was his chance to shine in week 1 with Christian Watson out, or Jerry Jeudy out. I'm getting my teams confused. Romeo Doubs was time to shine, was in week 1 with no Christian Watson. And I know he scored the 2 touchdowns, but it was the same deal. His target shares weren't there. The receptions, receiving yards weren't there. And I know he played a little bit limited because he had his own hamstring issue, but I've never been impressed with Romeo Doubs. He'll be a fine play for you, but I think Deontay Johnson, once he's back healthy, he's going to give you a lot more production than Romeo Doubs will. A.J. Dillon around 9, fine pick. Could work out well if this Aaron Jones hamstring injury turns out to be something. And then we got a couple defenses, next couple of rounds, defense and kicker. And then Deshaun Watson to finish up the draft in round 12. I mean, we talked about earlier, we don't really need a second quarterback in this league. With these tiny benches and small rosters, you're going to have viable, streamable, really good options at quarterback on the waiver wire week in, week out. Even though Deshaun Watson could be a top 12 quarterback, I don't think you need a second one in this league. When you have Justin Herbert, I'd be probably dropping Deshaun Watson or trade him. Seems like this league's pretty quarterback hungry. So maybe you could dangle him out there if he has a decent performance over the next couple of weeks. Overall, this team kind of feels like it's going to be kind of bad. It has some good pieces with Chubb and Herbert and Waller, but I'm concerned with the rest of the roster. I think you're missing another difference maker. And maybe that was going to be Garrett Wilson being that guy. Not sure that can happen with Zach Wilson. What do you guys think about this team?
Yeah, I know Dennis feels there. You mentioned the Deontay Johnson value. That was the first thing that stuck out to me, was like, I know as a collective, as the three of us, we all loved him going in already and thought he was a massive value. But this team drafted him as wide receiver 37.
Yeah, insane value. 1 pick before George Pickens, I believe.
Yeah. Sky Moore got taken before him. Jordan Addison. Like,
Nico Collins.
The value that you snagged on Deontay is just incredible. It just sucks that you lost it instantly.
Yeah, this league clearly devalues Deontay Johnson based off of just scoring no touchdowns last year. For a bunch of lawyers, they didn't do their homework very well.
That's right.
I like Dillon where they got him. I think that's pretty good value. I just don't like when you already have Christian Watson and then to like triple down on the Packers offense and get Dobbs, like, are you ever going to play Watson and Dobbs and Dillon all at the same time? Like, probably not. And like, that's like a fourth of your team because these rosters are so small.
And it's not like this is the Chargers offense. This is the Jordan Love offense.
Yeah, I'd be
And-
looking to make some changes.
The thing about the Dillon pick for me is that with the way the roster and the starting lineups are set, I would draft my wide receiver 4 over my running back 4 10 times out of 10.
Yeah, I agree. Especially when you only need to start one running back.
Right.
Right.
And we talk about perfect league for a hero RB build.
That's,
Yep,
yeah, that's
exactly.
true. But yeah, I'm with you. It's probably a lower end team, especially after the Garrett Wilson hit.
My turn?
Yeah.
Europe.
All right. So I got Mex Aliens or Los Turnstiles, who is apparently a manager that makes a lot of moves every week and is very good looking when he looks in the mirror, but other people do not agree.
Same.
I've never seen the man. This is just what I've been told. Alrighty. So he got Tua as his quarterback at 9-12, which I really, really love. He waited at QB and struck gold. Got him as QB 14. Love that. He's someone that when he's healthy, he's gonna put up the numbies you need. And the fact that you were able to wait, like, you're fine. And then lo and behold, he was QB1 week 1. Like, that's the kind of upside he has too. So I just feel like he's never gonna hurt you because he has such talent and it's such a good offense. And then, like I said, he has the upside to be elite as well. So you want shares in the Miami offense for sure. Moving on to his running back room, he has Ramondre Stevens at 312, arguably my favorite pick of the draft. He got Pierce 512, and then Sanders 712, which was awesome as well. Ramondre as RB 11 is just phenomenal. So few backs have the 1K rushing upside and the 500 yards receiving upside. He's on a very, very small list. And then, like, I've never been worried about Zeke, and they showed it week 1. Like, it's still all Ramondre. Pierce was RB 21. I don't love it, but you do you, fam. Limited receiving upside. Doesn't hurt as much in a half PPR league, but I just don't really want parts of that offense. I mean, it's going to have maybe by the end of the year, kind of puts it together, but with a rookie quarterback and a rough O-line, it's going to take some time to get going. You know what I mean? But you got this next guy, Miles Sanders. Awesome value is RB 29. I mean, that's going as like a mid-tier RB 3, and like even Alex, who doesn't even like him, would agree. That's awesome. He showed it early on that he has receiving upside that many people like projected him to have, and that's why so many viewed him as like a high-end RB2. And so, like, I know Philly, he didn't really show it there. He didn't catch passes. He wasn't very good at it either. But hopefully in Carolina, things are being different.
Second best running back on his team.
Wow. Okay. I mean, that's just wrong, but I'll just move on. And then he's able to add Gus Edwards, the Gus Bus, off waivers. And due to the Dobbins injury, that's going to end up making this a really solid RB room. Especially, like we've mentioned, you only have to start the 1, and he definitely has 2 that are capable. And so he's going to have a flex RB pretty much every week and be in great shape. Moving on to wide receiver. This is a good room. You got Justin Jefferson, 101. He got Cooper Kupp, 401. Jahan Dotson, 601. Sky Moore, 801. Gabe Davis, 1001. But those last 2 were dropped. Makes sense based on how it happened last week. But in a small league, having the wide receiver 1 is even a bigger advantage than normal. I mean, having Justin Jefferson is always an advantage. But when you only have to start 2 wide receivers and at most can only start 3, having the guy that's week in, week out going to be a top 3 guy is just great. not much else to say. He's just that guy. Cup is mad risky. Not necessarily in a bad way, but it's just risky just because like this injury, like all the notes and all the information about his injury is like been very unique. So you just don't know. We don't know what's going to happen with him. He may be back week 5. It may be a 6, 7, 8, 9 game absence. I don't know. So when he's back, though, that offense in LA is looking a lot better than people projected. I know I didn't think it would look that good against Seattle. Hand up, that was Seattle was my survivor pick, so I lost week 1. Yay! But yeah, Cooper Kupp, I don't mind where they got him. Wide receiver 16, pretty solid. Jahan Dotson, wide receiver 35, is great value for me. I think he's an ascending player, and if he can score touchdowns like he did last year, that's going to be a huge boost where it's only 0.5 PPR. Week 1 wasn't great, admittedly, but this card defense might be better than people thought it was going to be. We'll find out. They play the Giants this week, but he got 7 targets. He played 87% of the snaps, so that's phenomenal. He could be your wide receiver 2 until Kupp is back, and he'll be fine. I mentioned he dropped Guy and he dropped Gabe Davis. Smart moves, especially on Gabe Davis. And he added Zay Jones and Jacoby Myers. Zay Jones, he's just, Zach stole my term. I was going to say steady Eddie. He's just someone who plays a lot of snaps. He's someone that he's a proven commodity in the NFL. Like he's not going to, be a wide receiver 1 on a team, but he's a really solid player.
He can give you some spike weeks too.
For sure, because he can beat you deep.
Mm-hmm.
And then Jacoby Myers had a great week 1. A lot better than I thought he was going to be. He did take a nasty hit, though, and he has a history of concussions. So, you never really know with concussions how long they're going to last. So hopefully he's back sooner than later for you and for him, obviously. But I like this wide receiver room for what it is. Tight end, he got Mandrews at 212. He took him as the tight end 2, and that's fine for me. I'm great with tight end, him being the second tight end off the board. Don't love where you grab him, though. End of the second round, I would have gone elsewhere. My pick would have been Ramondre, but, shit on me, right? You got him anyway. I think I still would have gone Ridley over tight end, over Mark Andrews as well, but to each their own. I'm just such a Zay Flowers fanboy. I think that Andrews has way more competition for targets than he's had for the last several years. Overall, this is a pretty legit team, and if Kupp comes back soon and Mandrews is who you thought he was, like this team's going to be awesome, in my opinion. What are you guys thinking?
I'm thinking it'll be really awesome if Cooper Kupp comes back to form.
Yeah.
I don't hate the 4th round snag, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. 4th round is fine for him. I might have waited longer, but it's fine.
I think I would have too, just because I've been burned playing that game. Like, oh, he's only going to miss so many weeks. Then I have this top 10, wide receiver, top 10 running back. But then those 3 or 4 weeks turned into 6 or 7 weeks, or they get hurt again as soon as they come back.
Yeah.
So I'm just risk averse. If I see an injury in draft season, I'm like, you're moving way down the board. But
I agree, big time. But I mean, they clearly had the benefit of the doubt of drafting after the news.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm with you on Gus Edwards. I'm Team Gus over Justice Hill. The Ravens have trusted Gus in this exact spot for years now. They drafted Justice Hill and have cut him in the past. Like, he's clearly just a dude who's like, hey, like, you're familiar, like, we're familiar with each other. Like, it's clearly just a body to fill in on that team. And so, yeah, gave me Gus all day there. And then you said, who was the other pickup?
Zay Jones and Jacoby Myers.
Oh, okay, yeah. I was going to say about Zay was he's one of the backup receivers. I mean, he starts, but I mean, he's essentially a backup for fantasy purposes that, like, if Ridley goes out, he's gonna eat. I mean, he's not going to eat like Ridley, but his target share is going to jump, and he's going to be in an offense that's still going to be scoring. So yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah, this is one of the better teams of the 4 I reviewed.
Yeah, I think this is a really good team. With the star power with JJ and especially with Ramondre, I love the value there. I'm not concerned about the usage either, like you mentioned. Play the Eagles. Like, I'm not concerned about him. Yeah, I think it's a good team. I think it's definitely a playoff team. I don't know if it's like championship worthy.
That's what I thought. It's not the best team I reviewed, in my opinion.
Yeah. I'd rather have, you got 4 running backs, a solid running back room. You got decent value running back. Again, with the 1 start running back, I feel like this is going to be a theme for me all night. I don't know if I really need 4 running backs on this team. Give me another wide receiver.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Okay. I'm going to go over to the next team, OCV, which is Oi Como Va. And this team was the leading scorer week 1, and I'm not shocked.
No.
You were the lucky beneficiary of 2 quarterbacks going in the top 6. So you got Tyreek at pick 7. Congratulations, you won the lottery.
Insane.
The thing about the Dolphins offense was like near the end of the year, it kind of looked like people were starting to solve the McDaniel puzzle slightly. And I say slightly. McDaniel already came out in week 1 and was like, hey, I have a 3D puzzle now. So good luck, everybody. Yeah. I love that you got Tony Pollard in round 2 as the running back 7. I think that is an absolute smash for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you rounds 3 and 4, you doubled back up at receiver, which I love the strategy. And so you are walking away wide receiver 2, DK Metcalf, wide receiver 3, Keenan Allen. Love Keenan this year. Chargers are going to score a shitload of points, and he's Herbert's dude. He was hurt in the first half of the season pretty much last year, but down the stretch last year, Herbert was feeding him, and I want to say 2021 was another really good year for Keenan and Herbert together. But yeah, I love that you 3 of the first 4 rounds just said fuck it and went receiver. You got Dak in round 5, which didn't really do much for you week 1, but they didn't have to. This is like maybe the Cowboys could have won with like Dennis playing quarterback this week.
Imagine if you just
Pollard.
Imagine if you had just waited till round 9 and taken Tua.
Yeah, I know, right? I think that was a little bit of quarterback panic pick. But I don't hate it because you're still going to be fine with Dak. But yeah, the fact that Tua went way later is pretty crazy. You snagged Rashad White as your running back 2 in round 6, which is cool. He's going to get all the playing time. It wasn't a good start for him. We'll see moving forward how
he had the role. He had the role we wanted. He had the role we wanted, though.
Absolutely.
That offensive line is trashed.
19 touches.
For your running back 2 here to have that the volume, like that's awesome. And you don't even have to start him. So like he's got a lot of nice upside, especially moving down the rest of the season here. So yeah, I like the pick in round 6. You got Dallas Goedert for your tight end. He was tight end 7. I like that a lot. You're just investing in a good player in an offense that's going to score a bunch at a position where if you don't get one of the top dudes, it's just kind of throw a dart. So it's a safe dart with a lot of ceiling as well. So yeah, I'm totally down with that. James Conner, round 8 is your RB3. Once again, you got an RB3 who's getting the suspected workload, and that's incredible for you. Running back 32 overall, which is also great. Love the value there, even though they're going to just be bad. He's just going to get the work, so he's going to be a serviceable fantasy running back.
Such a value.
Right. You doubled up at quarterback here in round 9,
With-
which is the maddening part, because
With Tua still on the board.
right, you
Oh,
passed on
God.
Tua for Kirk. And in this tier of guys, I really like Kirk this year, but
Yeah.
you have Tyreek.
Like Kirk could have just been your QB1.
Right.
If you just never took Dak in the first place, you'd be Gucci.
But the fact that this team has Tyreek and had a chance at the stack, that's the most lethal stack in fantasy right there.
These first 4 rounds were so good, and then just after that.
Yeah. You
Besides
took
Connor.
2 defenses. That's a sad part. And then you took kicker.
He still
in the
has
last
them.
round.
He still has 2 defenses too.
Yeah, that's gross. You have the Jets. You're good, bro.
Don't do that.
But yeah, like Alex mentioned, the first 4 rounds are an absolute home run. The rest of it is got some questions. I love the running back room overall. Wide receiver room I love overall. I would get a 4th receiver.
Pick up Deontay.
Yeah, go snag Deontay because you don't need him. I think that's a fantastic idea. Other than that, yeah, you gotta drop a defense, like I said, but there are some missed opportunities here, but I still think this is a really good team who's gonna make a run at it.
I was thinking when I first saw the roster, this could be your champion. But looking at the second half of the way this guy drafted really makes me lose confidence. He can carry this team all the way through the finish
I knew where you were
line.
going.
Just
It started so strong.
it's like 2 different people drafted this team.
Had us in the first half, I'm not gonna lie.
And then like the White and Connor pick, both great values too. Like it's just a total, Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde kind of situation here.
Right. But I guess if you're gonna walk out of a draft and say, I crushed half, I'd rather crush the beginning.
You're right. You can fix the bottom. You're right.
So there is that. Anyone else got anything here?
Yeah,
I just love that he zigged when everyone else zagged and got 3 wide receivers in the first 4 rounds. I just think he's the only one that did that.
Yeah, I'm looking at it.
He might also be the only one who took 2 defenses too, but
All right, Alex, give us someone else who only took 1 defense, hopefully.
All right. We got Cool Hand as the next team. He's one of the only 2 guys in this league who is not a lawyer. So I don't know. Is he a winner or is he a loser here? I don't know. But he is in college at Florida, so maybe he's on his way to being a lawyer. Who knows? But
Lawyer for the football team?
Not to get too far ahead of ourselves here, but he might only be in this league because his dad is the commissioner. It's certainly not because he's good at fantasy football. However, so it didn't start very good in week 1 either because he scored the second fewest points in week 1. He picked 10th in the draft. Started with Saquon Barkley, which was a great pick, 10th overall. I love that pick. Huge upside. I mean, this guy can score as the RB1 this year. Great role in that offense. Joe Burrow in the second round was, especially at the beginning of the second round, I can't get there with that. Too early, but I think we could say that about pretty much all the quarterbacks that were drafted in this league. It's just this league is valuing quarterbacks a little too highly. Started here with this guy in the second round with Joe Burrow. However, I think your round 3 pick was a home run with Chris Olave. Fantastic pick. He had a good week 1, and I think it's just going to get better from here. eventually Michael Thomas is going to get hurt again, and you're going to have even more targets available in that offense. And then I think things went south again in round 4. So it's like we're doing good on the odd rounds. We're fucking it up in even rounds. Alexander Madison, you drafted him because of his role. And I've talked about this on other podcasts that drafting a guy just because of the situation is never a good strategy. And we've seen 2 games now from Alexander Madison. And so far, I've been right. He's been terrible.
And the offensive line is terrible.
And the offensive line is terrible. And they're not even trying to run the ball because
I was going to say, and they don't even want to run.
Why would you even want to? You got Justin Jefferson, you got Jordan Addison, you got TJ Hawkinson.
RB15?
Oh. Yeah, that's gross. Really, really gross. Decent pick in round 5, though, I think, with Chris Godwin. I think we all like Chris Godwin. Round 6. He flip-flopped this one. Round 6 was the bad pick again with Drake London. Absolute goose egg in week 1. This was the opposite. He's the opposite of Alexander Madison. You drafted him because of his talent, but his situation is so bad that even his talent can't overcome it. They just refuse. As the Vikings refuse to run the ball, the Falcons refuse to pass the ball. And I don't think it's really going to get much better. Arthur Smith doesn't give a fuck about our fantasy teams, clearly. And then we get to round 7. It just gets worse. Picking the Eagles defense in round 7. I mean, if you're going to pick a defense, might as well take the Eagles. I'm fine with that. I don't think you need to do it in round 7. And then you went George Pickens in round 8. You 1 pick missed out on Deontay Johnson, although maybe he dodged the bullet with his hamstring injury. But I think George Pickens is about to ascend. This is where we're going to find out. These next few weeks, this is where we're going to find out if George Pickens is the real deal or not. Because if Deontay Johnson's out and Pat Freiermuth is banged up, it's George Pickens' time to shine in that offense. They don't have to play the 49ers defense anymore, so things should open up for that offense. This is the chance for George Pickens. If he's going to take off, if he's going to be a guy that we can count on, it's going to be now. And then we get to round 9. David Njoku, fine pick there. Top 10 tight end with top 5, top 6, top 7 upside. Geno Smith in round 10. Again, I don't think you needed to take a second quarterback. If you're going to invest a round 2 pick in Joe Burrow, you're going to be all in on Joe Burrow. You don't need to take Geno Smith. And then we get to Sam Laporta in round 11 as your tight end 2. He had a really good week 1. I don't think you need a second tight end in this league either. But I think Sam Laporta could be a tight end 1 this year. And then Zach Charbonnet was drafted in round 12. I like that pick. You know, he's a good handcuff running back. Could have a standalone value. However, since the draft, Zach Charbonnet was dropped for a kicker before week 1. And then you dropped the kicker for Puka Nacua this week. And now you still need a kicker for week 2. So my suggestion would be to drop Geno Smith for your kicker. You don't need 2 quarterbacks in a single quarterback league with small rosters like this, especially when you have Joe Burrow, like we just talked about. So that would be who I would drop for your kicker.
Puka Nacua, net gain though. So hey, it's okay.
Yeah. Trade him while you can though. Solid team. Joe Burrow is going to be fine. Saquon's a stud. Chris Olave set up for a top 12 wide receiver season. I do think you're a little bit thin behind Chris Olave. I do like Chris Godwin as your wide receiver 2, but wide receiver 3 has some questions. Like I said, though, you're going to find out in the next 2 weeks if George Pickens can be that guy for you. I think he can, but we'll see. Definitely some questions there. I think a Chris Olave injury could tank your season for this team. That's really all I have. What do you guys think about this team?
Yeah, big investment on Madison, and drafting a second running back that early when you don't need to start 2 is pretty rough. Drake London, yeah, you hit it on the head, but in a fantasy stock article I wrote this week, I wrote stock down Drake London, and I wrote that the Arthur Smith truly might be the fun monster, and also that the Falcons offense is the wild, wild west. There's no rules, and anyone can die.
He is even going to cap Bijan for us as well by playing
Right.
Tyler Algier so much. It's not even like we can get, okay, we don't have London, we don't have Pitts, but at least we get Bijan. I know he had that good week 1 because he scored and he had 6 targets. I mean, he was the only guy who was targeted, basically.
I have more on the Atlanta Falcons later.
I figured you would.
Yeah, it's because Ritter's depth of target was 3 yards.
So bad. I think more than half of the targets went to running backs.
Ugh.
I don't
God
hate
damn
that they
it.
took a running back where they did. I just hate the running back that they took.
Right.
You're never going to play him over Saquon.
No.
Never.
No.
And I don't know how you're relying on him as a flex over Godwin or Pickens, to be honest. So,
Even if there's a fire. I'm not going to start Madison over Saquon.
Not going to call him dad. That's all I got.
All right.
Okay.
Dennis, you're up.
Mile high. So this is the other non-lawyer. So props to you, my guy. So he took Trevor Lawrence at 311. You took the Prince who was promised, as some people like to call him, QB8, which is later than I have him. I have him, or lower, I guess. I like him as QB7. He's a top 7 guy for me. He did not disappoint week 1, and I think he'll only continue to get better. Getting Ridley, which is awesome for this guy because now this offense is really hard to defend with the wide receivers, the tight end, and the running back they have, and the quarterback that elevates them. Maybe took him a little bit earlier than needed, but like we've mentioned, but I get it. You want one of the elite level QBs, and you got one. You saw how the board was going, and you said, hey, I'm going to grab one of my top ones on the board before they're gone, so I don't blame you. But again, as we've noted, some good QBs are going late. Running back, probably should have put this together when I was writing it. Just did, like literally the second. Mile high, Denver fan. He put Javonte at 402, JT at 511, and then Samaje Perine at 10-2. This is a bold strategy, Cotton. But fortune does favor the bold. I would have gone Mixon, and then I would have gone Sanders over Javonte and JT because the risk that comes with the latter two. But Javonte did look good week 1, and I'm guessing you're a Broncos fan. So maybe either A, you were plugged into the news cycle, or B, you just didn't care.
Dude, I'm going with B because he also doubled up on Samaje. If you're plugged into the news cycle and you're like, Javonte's good to go, my guy, you aren't concerned.
Yeah, more on that later as well. But yeah, great usage. He had 13 carries, 52 yards, 4 catches, only 5 yards, sadly. But he did have 6 targets. So if you're getting 19 opportunities each week for him, I think you'll be sitting pretty, especially when you know he's not 100% yet. I don't love grabbing Perine, though. I would have loved for you to diversify because right now you're really reliant on this Denver backfield being competent because you don't have JT for at least 4 weeks, if not more. And then you're, like I said, Engram over the running back. You drafted Evan Engram later on. Other running backs that were there when you took them, Khalil Herbert, Brian Robinson, James Conner, Dalvin Cook, A.J. Dillon. Passing on all of those guys when you're so dependent on Javonte being back could be problematic. But in a vacuum, I do like Engram. We'll talk about him when I get the tight ends. JT is RB20. Again, is fine. I'm okay with taking him. But if you take a risk with your RB1, you probably don't want to double down and go risky again with RB2. But I did see a clip of him running routes, and he looked pretty good. The whole ankle injury has been spoken about as kind of bullshit. So he's probably healthy. I just don't know if he's going to play because all he has to do is be active for 1 game and play a snap, and he qualifies as a free agent next year. So, but if he does come back after 4 weeks, this could be a league-winning type of move. Moving on to the wide receivers. I like this room a lot. Jamar Chase, 202. Amon-Ra St. Brown, 211. Pittman, 602. Addison, 711. And then Marvin Mims, 1202, but he did drop Mims. Wide receiver
He
2 is
must not be that hardcore Denver fan then.
He dropped the kicker too. The Denver kicker.
Wow.
He's already given up on the Broncos, so I don't blame him.
Damn.
Smart.
This guy's trying to land Russ's plane.
While Russ is doing high knees down the aisle.
Apparently, Sean Payton's not the savior.
But yeah, Jamar Chase, he's a really good player, right? He's the chalk wide receiver 2 pick. Not what I would do at 102. I would have gone Calf or Tyreek. Both are great values in this draft. But most people have Chase's, some people have him as the 101. So I'm probably just a hater. Sun God at wide receiver 10 warms my heart. I really, really love this guy and his role in this team. Dude is going to be pushing for a top 5 wide receiver finish, even in a 0.5 PPR. We all just have to bow and pray to our deity. It's Sun God. Pittman, wide receiver 25, rich for me. But week 1 is making you look smart. Don't love what I think this offense will play like most weeks, but that's why we play the games. If he's even touching 9 targets a game, he had 11 in week 1. You'll be loving him as your flex because wide receivers you have ahead of him will be permanently in your wide receiver slots. Don't ever move Chase or Sun God. Addison, wide receiver 4. Again, not what I would have done, but totally reasonable. I love gotta go upside. You're playing fantasy to win the chip. I would have gone Deontay, but clearly you were right so far. All Addison does is catch tutties. And then he added Quentin Johnson, which I really like over Mims, just based on offense and then also his own talent. Don't listen to what these losers, Zach and Alex, will say about him. They're bad witnesses.
That was his chance to shine. Mike Williams missed half the game. He still
if a
had
rookie
2
isn't good in
catches
his
for
first
9
game,
yards.
he's bad. If a rookie's not good in his first game, he's bad.
This was his shot. He was supposed to be the next Mike Williams.
He gets 1 shot?
Yeah.
That's
he
what
can't even beat
F&M
out
says.
Josh Palmer.
1 opportunity.
Yeah, you get 1 shot, man.
Yeah,
Hey,
you're saying he is vomiting on his sweater already, Mom Spaghetti?
This league finally
Yeah,
got it
absolutely.
right. We've been saying Quentin Johnson's not draftable for weeks, and they didn't draft him, and then this guy picks him up.
The vomit's done been on that sweater, Dennis.
Regardless, in a vacuum, Quentin Johnson over Marvin Mims. Like, at least agree there. Oh my goodness.
Absolutely
over
not.
who?
Absolutely
Marvin
not.
Mims.
No. Marvin Mims can make plays.
I'm borderline because I think Mims is going to play more.
I'm moving on. You guys are wrong. I'll be right. Anyway, Evan Engram, 802. Mentioned him earlier. He's a guy I like at the tight end position. You got him as probably the last tight end that you can rely on weekly, maybe Njoku. But Engram, I think for sure, is in that category of tight end. You can set it and forget it. He's a good player and completes a stack because you have Trevor Lawrence. I think he'll be more boom bust this year than he was last year. I mean, he was pretty boom bust last year, but I think his floor is lower this year. But a tight end is a river of fire nightmare, and you actually got one that can play each week. So props to you. Overall, this team's really good.
In the face of target competition, too, even with Calvin Ridley tearing it up, Evan Engram still played well.
Yeah, I think he's just a solid player. And he happens to play tight end, which is clutch because you have to play one. But yeah, I think this team's really solid, elite wide receiver duo. And you likely will survive your RB room, especially if JT comes back. This is probably my favorite team that was drafted. What are you guys thinking about it?
The wide receivers are awesome, like you said. Jamar Chase, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jordan Addison's had a fantastic start to the season. We actually have a rookie who can play. And Michael Pittman.
Addison's usage should only go up, too. He's not even playing a ton of snaps yet.
Right. And he's just going to get better and better and better.
Do you guys see Minnesota has only had 3 wide receivers play snaps?
I saw that today. That's whack.
That's wild.
That's great news for Jordan Addison.
It is great news for Jordan Addison and KJ Osborne, who's definitely available in this league.
Yeah.
Some of you guys that need an extra wide receiver, pick him up.
If Taylor comes back and is himself, I could see this team taking it all the way.
Agreed.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you screwed up by taking both Broncos running backs, especially as early as you took Javonte. Otherwise, I think it's a pretty solid team. This team could absolutely could win the championship. You got Jonathan Taylor, kind of contingent on that. But even without him, I think he can do it even without him.
Yeah.
Because you got Javonte. You only need the one running back.
Right.
Absolutely loaded at wide receiver. You got a top 8 quarterback. You got a top 8 tight end stacked with your quarterback, which is great. I don't know the 2 defenses that are currently on the roster. I don't think you need to do that. Might as well go pick up Jaleel McLaughlin if you want all those Broncos running backs. But don't actually do that.
And if he did it to because he was afraid of Buffalo against Minnesota, then why didn't they didn't play Minnesota. The Eagles played Minnesota. Who's Buffalo play this week? I forget.
Oakland.
Yeah, I forget.
Oh, so maybe he had.
there you
Sorry,
go.
Las Vegas. Jesus Christ, it's been 2 years.
So did he have the Bills or did he pick up the Bills this week?
Yeah, because I get not wanting the Browns versus Cincy. I get that.
Right. Although that would have worked out really well.
Yeah, he added Cleveland.
After week 1, after they had a great week?
I don't know. He drafted Bills.
He drafted Bills, not Cleveland.
Yeah, you don't need 2 defenses. Keep the Bills. Yeah. Regardless, though, I like this team a lot. And I think Javonte
is going to be a contender for sure. All right, I'm going to go on to my next team, which I'm pretty sure won't be a contender. And that it says
those
on
are
the
the best
says
ones.
left view, but when you click on a team, it says Frenchies. So I'm going to call you Frenchies because that's more fun.
Better too.
Yeah. You were a middle of the pack scoring team in week 1. But that is probably your ceiling, unfortunately. I really don't think this is a very good team. We're gonna go through your order here. You took Bijan at 108. I mean, I like Bijan. Everybody loves Bijan, but we already talked about Arthur Smith, and that usage week 1 is already concerning. But you took him over Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley. I would have taken both of those dudes. Probably would have taken Stephon Diggs even. So I got not where you took him, but the people you took him over isn't the best to me. But you turn him around with Devontae Adams, who he just played Patrick Surtain. So I don't take much stock out of that week 1 performance. I think moving forward, he's going to be totally fine. He's just complete stud wide receiver, so I'm not worried there. Justin Fields in round 3 was a rough start for the Bears as a whole, but I don't expect that moving forward. Fields is still going to get his rushing yards, not like last year, but he's going to get his rushing. He's going to be in a lot of garbage time situations. So it's going to be fine for fantasy there. And then with Hawk at round 4, also cool with this, you got him as a tight end 3 and you took him an entire round and a half after the second tight end went. So I like that you did a good job playing the board there. He's going to get a ton of targets and receptions in that offense. He's plays second fiddle right behind JJ. Kirk clearly trusts him a lot already. So yeah, TJ Hawkinson's got a very high ceiling at the tight end position. Round 5, DeAndre Hopkins. I'm not super high on this year, especially as the wide receiver 22. You're investing in a guy who plays in a running offense, but also plays with Ryan Tannehill. And Tannehill, he just looked really horrible week 1. I know it was week 1. There might have been some rust, whatever, but he looked horrendous.
When are we seeing Will Levis? End of
Are we
October?
seeing though? Because apparently Malik Willis was better.
Malik Willis
Was the
We're
better
seeing
guy in
somebody
camp. Oh, absolutely. I don't know, week 5, 6, something like that.
by the end of October. I think we see somebody.
Can we see a QB rotation like in college? Because I would love that.
Oh, hell yeah.
3 bad quarterbacks just rotating. Just
Let's
so much
go.
fun.
I love it. First down quarterback, second down quarterback, third down quarterback.
This is great. Revolutionary. Sounds like something Arthur Smith would do. But let's see. Oh, Hopkins. So yeah, I just not a big fan of the Hopkins pick because if Tannehill gets replaced, it's not getting better. This is the problem, is we're sitting in round 6 and you took a kicker. This is, you guys are the lawyers, so someone here is going to need to figure out what crimes this guy needs to be charged with.
A lot.
Yeah, but drafting Justin Tucker in the 6th round is something. And I don't know anything.
What does Justin Tucker have on this owner? That's what I want to
know. That's a very good point. Because yeah, I got nothing on this one. Just nothing. I know he's like the badass kicker, but no, just no. You will be investigated for that. Just be warned.
Extortion.
Yeah. Round 7, Cam Akers. I'm not a Cam Akers guy, but he's already losing his job, so that sucks.
Neither is McVay.
What?
Neither is McVay.
Yeah, very good point. He's already losing his job to Kyron Williams. They were in the Jonathan Taylor chatter. So yeah, not a good outlook for Cam Akers. I love that you got Anthony Richardson in the 8th. I don't love, once again, I know we're beating the dead horse here. You took your second quarterback in round 8. That's what makes it even worse. Not only did you draft a backup, you drafted a backup in round 8. So we're talking by the 8th round, you've already wasted 2 draft picks. And then you got your
third
wide
receiver 3 yet.
I was saying that's exactly where I was going. And then you finally get your 3rd receiver, and it's fucking Hollywood Brown.
Whoa.
So you invested into one wide receiver who plays in a not great offense, running offense, and then you backed it up with a guy who's going to play in potentially the worst offense in the league.
Wide receiver 41.
Well, I was just going to say, yeah, wide receiver 41, I'm fine with it, but not as your wide receiver 3.
Right.
That's why you don't draft a kicker and a backup tight end before third wide receiver.
He could have taken Jerry Jeudy.
Exactly.
He could have taken Jerry Jeudy. But yeah, exactly. This is why you don't take a kicker in round 6 or a backup quarterback in round 8. And then you rounded it out in round 10 with the defense. You took a backup tight end. Yeah.
Could have taken Brandon Ayuk or DJ Moore.
No.
Tyler Lockett.
Yeah, the list was. I didn't want to get that angry.
So
Jordan Addison.
Yeah, it wasn't good.
Deontay Johnson was still on the board at that point. I know the injury now, but
it's. I don't hate Schultz as a backup tight end. He's a nice floor guy, but you got Hawkinson, and are you ever going to start Schultz?
No.
Nope.
And then the other issue here is you finally got a 3rd running back, which is not like the worst because of the whole you have to start one thing. But I do have a little issue with it being McKinnon, considering like the type of running back like, with how thin this bench is, I think there's people on waivers that you could probably get. The thing that worries me about McKinnon was, like you mentioned with Pacheco, about the target shares. Like, that was the big thing to me. And that was before McKinnon had a bad drop. I remember in the second half of that game, he joined in on the drop party, and I was like, oh God, that's not good for him, because that's his bread and butter. And he was already looking like he's losing some passing snaps to Pacheco. So
He's the type of guy in this league that you just pick up off the waiver wire on a bye week or an injury,
right,
and you drop him back again after that 1 week. I'd rather hold somebody with more upside. You could have been holding a Josh Kelly, for example, and now
absolutely.
Now look at him.
Yeah, just for that 1 week that McKinnon catches 2 touchdowns. So overall, you made some good moves. You made a lot more really bad ones. Like I said, I don't hate the Bijan Adams start. Hawkinson's a great tight end 1. Your wide receiver depth is a mess. I just don't trust Hopkins. He gets banged up a lot. Like I said, the Cardinals are going to suck. So it's just like, I don't want to invest there. And I know you guys, like we talked about, the value is good, but due to the mistakes earlier, it magnifies the Hollywood pick. I don't think this team's making the playoffs.
Yeah, I really like the hero RB build. Grab, Bijan, and then ignored running back for a long time. I'm fine with Fields in the 3rd round based on how this league drafts, because then you had an RB1, a wide receiver 1, a QB1, a tight end 1. Boom. Then start hammering wide receiver, man. I mean, we keep saying the same things, but.
What do you guys think of Anthony Richardson after week 1? I like him a lot.
He looked really good.
He was the QB4 in his NFL debut.
He threw a couple balls that weren't great, which is to be expected.
Yeah.
But overall, he never looked shell-shocked. He never once looked like it was too big for him. He never once looked confused. I thought it was encouraging.
He still completed 65% of his passes.
Right.
But I thought he only completed 52 in college, so that's all he could do.
Where's Ryan? We need him.
Yeah, the story on him was always a joke. He's an elite physical quarterback.
He gave you 10 points just from rushing. And he came out of the game when they were inside the 5-yard line at the end. That could have been another touchdown.
Right.
And I don't think
absolutely.
He threw his
interception. If he's in that game at the end and not Minshew, the
play
calling is way different.
Yeah, he probably runs that in. And I believe his interception, he threw a pick, but it didn't come till the end of the game when they were in like desperation.
Yeah, it was in the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
They were down 24-21. 21.
So at that point, he's forcing things to try to make plays and try to come back. So even that, I can't even get concerned about his pick.
And like, he's the one QB, if you're going to take a backup after you already got a legit QB, take him, because the upside of him being a top 5 guy who runs it a bunch is worth it, because you're going to be able to flip either him or Fields.
I was just going to go there. So now if I'm running this team, I'm waiting for Justin Fields in week 2, week 3 to have his, Justin Fields blow up week. I'm putting him on the block, upgrading at wide receiver. I might roll with Anthony Richardson as my QB1 the rest of the way, if I can upgrade somewhere else with Justin Fields.
With where this team is at, that's the type of home run swing you got to take.
I think so. Because you drafted Anthony Richardson for the same reasons you drafted Justin Fields.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's all I got.
All right, A-Train.
Is it my turn?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you're after Zach. Yeah, he flipped up the order this time.
Okay. All right.
I'll keep you on your toes.
I did that on purpose.
Monarchy. Monarchy is the next team. He's dominated this league over the last decade, finishing in the top 2 6 times in the last 9 years. So at least we have one lawyer who knows what he's doing. He was 8th in points in week 1, though, so not a great start. He drafted 11th overall, and he went Stephon Diggs. Excellent pick there at 11th overall. And then he came back in round 2 and went CeeDee Lamb. This is a fantastic start. Diggs, Lamb. And then I'm happy with Lamar Jackson in round 3. If everybody's taking all these quarterbacks early and you still get Lamar Jackson in round 3, I'm happy with that start. Round 4, Aaron Jones. I think he was the RB1 overall in week 1, if I'm not mistaken. He's got his hamstring injury, but not a terrible pick there in round 4. He wasn't really a guy I was drafting a lot this year, but great start to his season. And then we got Breece Hall in round 5, who I think is really going to pay off for you. This guy carried the ball, 10 times in week 1? His first 2 carries, he was over 100 yards. This is Breece Hall. I remember when he broke off that 80-yard run, I literally jumped out of my chair and was cheering him to go to the end zone. He didn't have enough.
Yeah. As a huge Breece supporter, you could tell he wasn't 100%. And then they've tracked him, and he was about a second slower in the 40 than his run against Denver when he took it to the house.
Yeah.
Now, that one was a little bit more straight line, so he was able to get to top speed quicker. But you could just tell watching him. He didn't have that 5th gear, but it's coming.
And then he, not only the knee, but also, he spent all this time rehabbing. So he's not, he's not ready to run 100 yards in one shot. So I think if that was week 6, he takes that thing to the house.
Agreed.
He definitely has the speed to do it. So if he was that productive in limited opportunities, I think it's going to be wheels up for Breece Hall. It's probably still going to be a slow ramp up over the next few weeks. But I think, come week 5, week 6, week 7, they're going to completely unleash him. Because I don't think Dalvin Cook looked like a difference maker out there. And we got George Kittle in round 6. Solid pick. This is going to be a guy who could be frustrating for you. He's going to have these, 20-point week, 1 week, and then he's going to give you 2 points the next week. But I think he's one of these players that you just embrace the volatility. You enjoy the big spike weeks, the week winning weeks, and you deal with the down weeks. That's what comes with playing in that San Francisco offense with all that target competition. But I drafted a lot of George Kittle this year because I'm fine with the volatility. I'll take those big week winning performances. And we got, I think, some nice value in round 7 with DJ Moore. I know week 1 was a disaster, but there is some hope. I mean, he's DJ Moore still. I mean, they did throw the ball 37 times in week 1, which is incredibly encouraging for me for DJ Moore, because last year, Justin Fields, he averaged 21 pass attempts per game. 21. His highest pass total in a single game was 28. And now he had 37 in week 1. So I'm very hopeful that things are going to turn around for Fields, for that Bears offense. And if he's throwing the ball 30 times a game, it's going to be good for DJ Moore.
I was told that because they threw 21 times a game, that just can't go up.
Well, it shot up big time.
And I watched a lot of film breakdown on the Bears because I'm a Bears fan, and DJ Moore was open. Fields literally just didn't trust it. And so he even said out loud to the media, I just need to trust DJ more and more.
Yeah.
And I just need to let it rip because he is just that good of a player. So I really think better weeks are ahead starting this week. Buccaneers are missing their top corner, Davis. And so, yeah.
They were playing against
for DFS
good Packers defense.
Yeah.
It's not a bad Packers defense at all.
It was just
Alexander's good.
Right. Yeah.
It was just a clusterfuck. It was really, really bad.
There will be better days. Better days coming for Justin Fields, DJ Moore. I mean, this is a guy who had 27% target share or higher in each of the last 2 years. So I am not panicking on DJ Moore whatsoever.
Wide receiver 32.
Yeah. Fantastic. Round 8, you went Dalvin Cook. I'm not a huge fan of taking both Jets running backs, but we've kind of touched on that with Javonte and Samaje earlier, why we don't really want to do that. Zay Flowers in round 9, fantastic pick in round 9, and paid off for you from the beginning. I think we talked about it on our last personalized podcast that we did last week, that we had absolutely zero hesitation starting Zay Flowers from week 1. And then he went out and he ran 93% of the routes, 45% target share, caught 9 to 10 targets. And he's going to get more targets down the field as the season goes along. So those targets are going to turn into bigger chunks, touchdowns. It's going to be an absolutely fantastic rookie year for Zay Flowers. I think we all love him on this podcast. Jamal Williams, round 12. I'm okay with it. Don't love it. I don't think there's really a lot of upside, but I mean, okay with it. He'll get you through a few weeks as, a depth piece. I would have liked a better, a higher ceiling guy at that point, especially in a league where you only need to start one running back. Jamal Williams is very replaceable on the waiver wire. Go ahead.
We can't even shit on him too much for this, because he didn't take a single backup tight end, kicker, defense, quarterback. So you know what?
This is why.
Take Jamal, buddy.
This is why this guy is running circles around this league for the last 10 years. Appropriately named. Yeah, exactly. Appropriately named the Monarchy. He's the king of this league. And since the draft ended, he's actually dropped Jamal Williams and he added Tyler Algier. So I think that's what I would have done in the draft. And he corrected his one big mistake. So fantastic move there.
Agreed.
This is a really good team. Really, really good team.
Yeah.
This guy is setting up for another top 2, top 3 finish in this league. Got that stud quarterback with Lamar Jackson, Aaron Jones and Breece Hall at running back. That's only going to get better for you throughout the year. They could peak for you, in the fantasy playoffs. Diggs, Lamb, Flowers, DJ Moore at wide receiver. That could be your best top 4 wide receivers in this league for any team. If you look at the top 4 wide receivers for any team, that might be your strongest. And George Kittle at tight end. He's going to give you spike weeks. Love this team. What do you guys think?
Agreed. This is a damn good team. This guy definitely reads up, listens to podcasts. He did his draft research. He had a plan going in. DJ Moore at that value, wide receiver 32, is just silly. Not only do I love where you got Zay Flowers, but you get to stack him with Lamar. I agree with Alex that you did very well of getting Lamar where you did. This is spoiler, but it's probably my champion pick right here.
It's just crazy. He's probably never going to start Zay Flowers.
Right.
Between his running back 2 and his wide receiver 3, he's never going to start him. And it's not because Zay doesn't deserve it, because he nearly made a Texans defender blow out the knee of another Texans defender because he's so damn elusive.
But yeah, testament to how good he drafted.
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. But I think this absolutely has to be the best drafted team in this league.
Mm-hmm. All hail the king.
All hail the king.
Okay. Can we move on to someone who doesn't deserve to be praised?
Absolutely.
Oh, yes. Let's go.
Dos amigos. Now, you started hot. I don't give a shit. All right, we're moving on. My man, you did the thing, didn't you? Patrick Mahomes, he's the best player, right? First round pick. Bro, you took him 103. What are we doing? What are we doing?
This is the guy in the league that never plays fantasy football. He just knows some names. It's Mahomes. Mahomes is good. I got to draft him. Great first round pick, right?
Craziest thing, not even his worst pick.
Oh.
My man Tua, he went 9-12, and he outscored Mahomes. Sucks. Now, I don't know what else to tell you, man. Don't take QB's first round. Definitely don't take him with the 3rd overall pick with Christian McCaffrey on the board. Like, come on, man. Anyway, that said, you do have a good QB. You got that down. Well, I mean, he's a stud. Don't worry about week 1. He's going to be fine. Better weeks are ahead. But, dude, never again. Never take this to heart. Never again. Moving to running backs. At least he didn't draft the backup. So give him that credit. Gibbs, 310. Mixon, 403. Khalil Herbert, 803. Mentioned already. I already like the Mixon pick. RB13 might be a little rich, but I do like him. I think Mixon's going to do well this year. He's the big cheese there. Gibbs, RB10, certainly a ballsy move. No way should he be taken ahead of Ramondre Stevens in any format. Never. Shouldn't have happened. His week 1 usage was bad, but that's going to increase even if Dan Campbell won't stop trolling us that he's not going to play him more. You don't draft a running back at 12 and then be like, I'm going to play David Montgomery 3 times as much.
Ask Arthur Smith.
Oh, fucking hey, I forgot about that.
He's gonna play more, but I still don't think it's gonna be enough to justify drafting him in the 3rd round.
Especially not over Ramondre.
No.
But the Lions offense, it will move the ball. That O-line is phenomenal. And Gibbs will have boom weeks because he is really good.
He is going to rip off
super fast.
He is going to rip off multiple 50-plus yard runs this year. Just based on how he looked in week 1.
Imagine when they actually throw him a screen. I can't wait for it. It's going to be so much fun. Can you guys?
The most impressive thing to me was his breaking tackle ability.
Yeah, I know. Imagine getting him in space.
That. Yeah, behind that Lions offensive line, they're going to open up some huge lanes.
Yeah. But anyway, took Khalil Herbert, RB30 over others I would have preferred, and added Roschon Johnson, which I guess makes sense in a way of thinking to hedge your bets and find the top running back of the Bears, if that's your mindset. However, limits your upside. We've already mentioned this. 2 running backs in the same room. It's better off grabbing a handcuff of a different team. But yeah, I'm guessing you probably just won't know ever who to start between Herbert and Roschon, and you're just going to be pissed off about it the whole time. Wide receivers started great, man. AJB 210, love. Lockett 710, Michael Thomas 910, Tony 10-3, and just like Tony, you dropped it. Good call there. Don't be worried about AJB. You took him wide receiver 9. He's gonna finish top 9. I'm not worried about that. He's a top 5 talent at wide receiver and deserves to be featured that way. I support him being mad at the Eagles using him as a decoy for the whole entire goddamn game. That's trash. Like
he's gonna have a squeaky wheel gets the grease game next week.
As he deserves. Everyone's like bad teammate. I'm like, no, like you can use him as a decoy 100%. Clearly it's working, right? It's opened up the running game. It's opened up Devonta Smith. But that's not why he's there, and he deserves to be frustrated. Like, imagine in your workplace if you were just used to make everyone else look good. Eventually, you're like, hey, I'm good too, right? Like, set me up, right?
And the best point I heard was that these guys get paid based on their stats.
Yes. Like, they have incentives. Like, a lot of their contract is based off how well they do. Very little is guaranteed.
And that's what teams are looking at when their contract comes up.
More on that later, because we about to get to that part. But bro, after that, man, you take a defense before taking a second wide receiver before your wide receiver 2. You have to start 2 of them.
No.
You have to start 2 of them, and you took a defense. I don't care that the Cowboys were incredible and they won you week 1, basically. Good luck with Lockett and Michael Thomas as your depth behind AJB. Individually, I agree. I like Lockett. I think wide receiver's too early. 33, that's too early. But, hey, he's a solid player. He always ends up getting his by the end of the year. Michael Thomas, wide receiver 43, that's fine. But also has to be someone, if you don't get anything cool, right? You can't be reliant on Michael Thomas this year. And you totally are, because he's one of 3 wide receivers that you have. Like, it's just, like, bro, you're doing this wrong. I think he might have actually added. He only drafted 3. I don't know if he still has 3. I need to double check that real quick.
He
Still
he
only
added Jacoby Myers, but he dropped him the next day for Roshan.
3. Yeah. So Michael Thomas, like, you're gonna have to start him unless you make changes eventually because of bye weeks. So you're reliant on this dude that hasn't been able to play football in like 2 years. But here we go. The tight end room. So if you're watching this pod, I'm wearing a Kyle Pitts jersey. You can probably guess. I like this pick a lot. Tight end 5. That's just about right for him, right? He has the upside of any tight end not named Travis Kelce. But I want to clear the paint right here. I'm calling ISO. Yo, Dre, I got something to say. Fuck the Falcons front office and fuck Arthur Smith. God damn it. How the fuck are you going to talk like we fancy people are the losers because all we care about is wins? You missed the playoffs last year. What do you like? Clearly, you don't care enough. Like, do you care about maximizing players and putting them in a place to succeed? Why spend top 10 picks on skill players and then not use them?
3 years in a row.
You really think these players and these agents will stand for this? Their second contracts are based on their production. They need targets. You think other free agents want to go there and just run cardio and play offensive line? You're a goddamn joke, Arthur Smith. You tried this last year and sucked, but sure, you know best. It's the goofy meme. I'll fucking do it again. You fuck with the wrong Marine.
The fucking I'll fucking do it again is perfect. Just
I'm livid.
Dumbass look on his face. And here we go. And then you took Michael Mayer, who for Dynasty I still have all the faith in the world in, but you can't draft this dude in redraft.
Now, to this guy's credit, he did add Hunter Henry, so that's a huge upgrade from Michael Mayer. But I'm
good.
Are you starting Hunter Henry over Kyle Pitts?
I mean, this week I don't blame you if you do. I saw Kyle Pitts leads the league in percentage of team air yards with like 89%, and he has 44 air yards.
Yeah, it's pathetic. Absolutely pathetic.
Like, this is malpractice going on in Atlanta. I don't care that they beat a rookie quarterback in his debut start. Like, hang the banner, bro. You did it. You're going to suck just like you did last year if you don't start getting your players in positions to succeed. You take Bijan, you take Drake London, you take Kyle Pitts. They're all awesome. Make them look good. That's why you're paid. He is not going to last this year if he doesn't. I'm convinced he won't. I just love that he's like making us feel like you fancy losers.
Why are you drafting Kyle Pitts at 4th overall? Which drafting a tight end that high to begin with is a terrible pick. But then you're not going to use him. And then the next year you go and you draft Drake London at the 8th pick, and you're not going to use him either.
Give him
and then you're going to draft Bijan Robinson at the 8th pick, and you're still going to, give Tyler Algier 1 million carries.
And then you're going to step on the podium and give your fantasy bro speech like Dennis said, and you're going to say, you think Drake London cares? Yeah, I bet you he fucking cares.
He absolutely
That's how
does
he's going
care.
to get paid. That's how he gets paid next time.
Have you ever met a wide receiver who just doesn't care if he gets the ball? Other than like these special teams guys who know they suck. This is an alpha wide receiver. He was drafted 8th overall a year ago. And he's just going to be like, yeah, I don't care if you throw me the ball. I don't care.
Yeah. In 10 games at USC, he won Pac-10 Player of the Year. And then they're just not going to throw him the ball one time against a pretty mediocre defense. Like, they're going to hold out, not because they want a new contract, just to be traded. Like, it's going to be like NBA James Harden shit.
And you know what? Maybe he doesn't care for this one game. He doesn't care. But week after week after week after week of this,
right?
He's going to care. 3 weeks in a row, he catches no passes, or after 3 weeks, he has 5 receptions. He's going to care.
And I know you retweeted it, but someone cut up all the clips of Kyle Pitts running routes. The bro is open. He's literally making defenders trip over their own ankles.
And he's
standing there with his arms up.
Hello,
Like,
you drafted
like
me
Jimmy-
4th overall for a reason.
Like it's so obvious that it's coaching not willing to use him. It's just I just don't see how that's in. Like, are you going to beat the Eagles playing like that?
And it's so
No.
painful
What the fuck are you doing?
because he's not going to get punished for it, because he's going to keep winning games because he's in the worst division in the league. And he's got a decent defense.
Yeah,
And he's got a good O-line.
great O-line. Yeah.
So unfortunately, it's probably going to work. He's going to win another 7-8 games, and he's going to be happy about it. When if he had actually, changed his offense a little bit, maybe he can win 11 games in that division.
And here's the other thing is that he's a good enough coach to win these games because he is a good enough schemer and play designer and you name it. Like, the dude is legit a badass football coach. He just can't get out his head out of his own ass.
And you know what's going to happen, right? Their quarterback next year is going to be Ryan Tannehill.
Oh my God.
God damn it.
That is who he coached in Tennessee.
Mhm.
Tennessee is going to be like, we're done with you. And the Falcons are going to be like, Desmond Ridder kind of sucks. Well, let's go bring in Ryan Tannehill.
Desmond Ridder sprained ankle week 7, trade for Ryan Tannehill.
Well, he already tried it with Mariota. He's literally I'll fucking do it again. Like, he's like, that is who he is. Oh, so over it. All right, let's get back to these guys. All right, go back to taking the Cowboys, man. Like, what are you doing? Are you really going to hold 2 defenses? Actually, compared to some of these league mates, you might. But my point was, they play Philly twice. They play the Niners. They play the Chargers. They have a bye week. That's probably 5 times you don't really want to be playing the Cowboys defense, but you took them in the 5th round.
This guy is the Arthur Smith of this league. He drafted the defense in the 6th round, and the football gods reward him for it anyway.
Oh, that's so true. Bad process. I hate when that works.
Yep.
All
Yeah,
right,
we need to move on.
Yeah.
Okay. My last team is G-Rex. And week 1, you were the lowest scorer, unfortunately. But don't let that deter you, because you got brighter days ahead. You kicked it off 105 with Austin Eckler, which I don't hate him here at 5, but I would not have taken him over Hill. But as the second running back off the board, I'm cool. The nice thing here is you spun it back around in the second round and got Waddle, so I am down for that. I love Jalen Waddle this year. He obviously didn't have his game the other day, but he'll have his games, so don't worry there. We already waxed poetic about Mike McDaniel, so yeah, no concerns at all. T. Higgins in round 3. Now, I don't hate him as wide receiver 15. I don't hate him. I don't know. I was never a huge T. Higgins guy in redraft in general because you're drafting him very high for a team's second option. And then that's always been my holdup with him. The goose egg in week 1 shouldn't worry you, though. The Browns just bullied the shit out of him completely overall.
And we talked about Kyle Pitts leading the league in air yard share. And he had how many yards? 40 or something?
44.
Well, T. Higgins was number 2, and his air yards were 151. Just to compare the two.
I watched a cut up of all of his targets. Burrow was just bad.
Yeah, it was a throw.
The weather was
take
bad
away
too,
type
right?
of game. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Joe Burrow hadn't practiced all summer long. Weather was terrible. Ran into a good Browns defense. Just throw that game out, forget it, and just it's the Bengals. I'm buying low on everybody I can on that offense right now.
Yeah, I don't. So yeah, I'm cool with Higgins. My problem here is I just don't see the super spike weeks you want coming out of him with Jamar Chase on the offense.
Are you looking at the transactions? Is that your face?
Yes.
Yeah, I had the same reaction.
Oh no, what happened?
Yeah. It's gonna break your heart.
Keep going. We'll let you know
Just
when the glass shatters.
Oh, they fucking dropped Christian Kirk.
Oh, Just
for what?
wait.
Guess for what?
A kicker.
Oh, it gets worse. His second defense.
He dropped Terry McLaurin too.
Oh no! I didn't even. Are you?
No, he didn't.
I
I'm
didn't see
dumb.
that
No, he
one.
didn't.
No,
No, he
no.
didn't.
Okay,
No, he
I don't
didn't.
think so.
I apologize, G-Rex. I apologize.
Okay. Anyways, we're gonna keep going. You took Najee in round 4. I'm cool with that for him being the running back 14. You started off with 2 running back, 2 wide receiver. I like the start and the strategy to punt, essentially just punt, tight end, quarterback, defense, kicker in the draft, and just say that's my last priority. I like the strategy of that. So then you got wide receiver 3 of Terry. And I mean, I can't complain there. He's going to be a great wide receiver 3 for you, with borderline wide receiver 1 upside if things fall into place. Christian Kirk in round 6, I was going to give you props for, but you dropped him. That was fucking stupid.
How do you drop him already?
He caught 1 pass. Colts play a ton of zone. It was all, I just knew it was in the game plan to showcase Ridley in week 1. They're going to continue to score a bunch of points. They're going to spread the ball around. Kirk is going to have his games. That was just complete overreaction. Someone else is going to get really lucky because of you.
So I think in week 1, as far as like the target share and everything, how they were operating that offense, Calvin Ridley, was up here and Christian Kirk was down here. But I think for the duration of the season, it's going to come a lot closer.
Oh, absolutely it will. Ridley is still your week to week like target leader, but yeah, the gap's going to close. That's just a bad move.
Yeah.
Round 7, running back 3, James Cook. I like that as a depth piece. I've talked before about how I don't believe that he is like a 3-down back. Like some people have been touting him this offseason, but to take him as running back 27 in a good offense who's going to be the starter, that's just a smash value pick. That's just playing the board really well. In round 8, you got Juwan Johnson, tight end 9. I mean, this is a meh pick for me. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It is what it is. There's just in that crop of tight ends.
I had a Pat Freiermuth though.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Is it's kind of a dart throw. I easily would have taken Freiermuth, or Njoku. So
I was gonna say Njoku is there too. Yeah.
It's definitely a reach on Johnson, but he does have some nice upside if he can get some chemistry going with their car. You took Daniel Jones next, round 9, which I like. He's got a lot of that rushing upside. Don't be worried about week 1 as a fluke.
Oh, he is.
Oh, he's gone now?
Well, you added Garoppolo.
Oh, okay. But
he's missing both his wide receivers at the moment.
So yeah, Danny Dimes is going to be fine this year. He's got a lot of rushing upside, and Dable's going to have that offense in okay shape. Like that's just a weird fluky week 1. Defense round 10, Patriots are always going to be a solid option. Jake Elliott, he created a meme last night, so that's a good pick. And you took Jimmy G as your backup, and whatever, that's that. The Christian Kirk thing blows me away. It sucks he drafted Eckler first. He's got an injury. Other than that, I think that you've hammered the flex depth all the way through round 7 is going to give you a big advantage and help overcome some mistakes. And I think this is going to be a playoff team as a result.
You think this is going to be a playoff team?
I think so, just because of the positional. I think the wide receivers and the running back room is going to help get them there.
Yeah. Well, this is another team that took a lesser quarterback over Tua. Took Daniel Jones over Tua.
God.
Very frustrating. The kicker scoring must be kind of wild in this league. Jake Elliott, I know he's played 2 games, but he's got 44 points on the year.
Jesus.
Wow.
And I
Well,
know
he did
Daniel
get that 60-yarder, so he probably got a ton of points for
he
that.
must have some bonuses. And I know Daniel Jones was pretty bad in week 1, but he's got -9 points. So they must get really punished for sacks and turnovers more than
Probably.
a standard league.
Yeah.
Yeah, I disagree that this team is going to be a playoff team. I don't
I'm
think
with
you're
that.
strong enough at quarterback. I mean, Eckler's great as your RB1, but who knows how long he's going to be out. Wide receiver, I think you're going to be a roller coaster. I think all 3 of those guys, Jalen Waddle, Terry McLaurin, and T. Higgins, are all kind of spike week guys, but they're also going to give you their valley weeks. And
I think that's going to help all 3 carry each other, though.
It could. And I don't think you're strong enough at tight end either.
Yeah.
Jawan Johnson. I think you whiffed on not taking Pat Fryermuth there. I think you had a chance to have, a top 7, even top 6 tight end there.
Yeah,
I agree. I think they're going to miss the playoffs too. It's just they did well at the beginning of the draft, like we keep saying, and then kind of towards the end made some mistakes, in my opinion.
I just think with the running back, wide receiver depth, that is going to be enough to carry the team to at least be in the playoff conversation.
And by the way, Christian Kirk is still available on the waiver wire.
Jesus Christ.
But if Eckler doesn't play, who is he going to have as his RB this week? Cook or Najee? Do you feel really confident with either one?
No.
Right,
I think I'm going back to Najee, though. I'm giving him another shot. I know he played the 49ers last week. He looked terrible, but so did Jalen Warren. Tough defense. I would play Najee.
I would as well.
And you're starting all 3 of these wide receivers, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And go get Christian Kirk back while you can.
Yeah.
Your second defense.
Please.
Unreal.
All right. Is it my turn?
Yeah. 2 more.
I'm so screwed up by the order here. All right. This one is Dyson. He is the commissioner of this league. He scored the 5th most points in week 1, so not a terrible start. However, I think his draft was a little bit of a terrible start. So in round 1, I believe he picked at the 112. He drafted Josh Jacobs, who you're really, really, really counting on Josh Jacobs being last year's Josh Jacobs, and I just don't think that's going to happen again. It's going to be a bad offense. I don't know if he can hold up for another 400 touch season. And even if he's healthy, can he be effective for another 400 touch season? And it's the guy his ADP was in the 3rd round.
Yeah.
So I would have waited on Jacobs. You could have gotten him, especially with the 3rd round reversal. You could have taken him with the 301. Or maybe I'm wrong there. Is that
No, he had
the 301. Yeah, he would have
301.
been the 301. Yeah. And then he went Jalen Hurts in round 2, which would have been the 201. So that another reach there. Way too early. I think he's more of your end of 2nd round type of guy. Again, could have possibly been there, although maybe not in this league with the way they're valuing quarterbacks at the 301, but not a move I would have done that early in the draft. Calvin Ridley is another guy who, for me, the 3rd round, especially at the beginning of the 3rd round, it was too early. And I know he was fantastic in week 1. I do not expect that is going to be the normal performance for Calvin Ridley. Now, I still think he's going to return like that 5th round value, not 3rd round value. He's going to have a good year, maybe better than what I thought, but I still don't like the pick at the 301. Could prove me wrong. Kenneth Walker in the 4th round, though, I don't hate that pick at all. I think he's a decent value. This is still his backfield. And I hope that Geno Smith did not turn back into a pumpkin. Things did not go great in week 1. So hopefully we'll see 2022 Geno Smith more often than not. And that offense will be a good offense. And I think it will. And then we got another early defense. Round 5, 49ers. Great defense to take. Not this early. Moving on to round 6, Mike Evans. Great week 1. I'm putting him on the trade block because I just don't think the passing volume is going to be high enough in that offense for Mike Evans to consistently be the Mike Evans that we're used to seeing and what we saw in week 1. Brandon Ayuk, however, in round 7, I think that's a fantastic value. He had a fantastic week 1. There's another guy we talked about with George Kittle. Could be a little bit of a roller coaster, give you some big spike weeks, and then, he's going to have some weeks where he doesn't do a whole lot. But I think he is going to be outside of Christian McCaffrey. I think Brandon Ayuk is going to be the most consistent producer in that 49ers offense. So I like that pick a lot. Raheem Mostert in round 8. I think you drafted pretty late in the summer. So I think this was right around where he should have gone. He had a fine week 1. Not as explosive as I was hoping, given the game environment. They just didn't really run the ball much. But he was fine. Round 9, I really like the value of Brandon Cooks. He's a guy I drafted at value all summer long. He's a little banged up right now, but I think he's going to give you a pretty solid season. And you got Brock Purdy around 10. I just think it's a very unnecessary pick. We've, kind of beating a dead horse at this point with the quarterback talk, but you took Jalen Hurts around 2. I don't think you needed a Brock Purdy around 10.
Right. It's even more of a bad decision when you have one of those set it and forget it guys.
Right, exactly.
Watson and Goff were still there. Like, even if that was your play, grab the better players.
Yeah. Yep. And then I believe we went kicker in round 11, which is fine. And then we went Irv Smith in round 12. And since the draft, he has dropped Irv Smith for Kyron Williams. But this league
he doesn't have a tight end.
Oh.
Irv Smith is the only tight end drafted.
Yeah, no tight end.
You want to talk about a bold strategy?
I somehow missed that when I was taking my notes here. Well, you got to go get a tight end. Drop.
Breaking analysis.
Drop Brock Purdy. I don't know why you even drafted Brock Purdy. And go get a tight end. Go get Tyler Higbee. Wasn't he dropped? And then so that's the roster here. Go get a tight end. But this league's been around for 30 years. And considering this guy is the founder, it's probably safe to say that he's played in all 30. It's also probably safe to say that he hasn't won very many championships over those years either. Just too many reaches in this draft. Rather than just letting the value come to you, let the draft board come to you. And I can't believe you drafted a defense in round 5. You really fucked up the tight end position. This is not going to be a good team, I hate to tell you.
Yeah, Higbee was dropped for Musgrave.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
So it's the 5th round defense, the 6th round kicker, the 6th round defense, the backup quarterbacks. These are the moves that make me think that other team has a playoff shot. Is that they, the team I just talked about didn't burn a pick on a non-running back or receiver till round 7. Now we talked about how he fumbled the bag with the tight end pick, but still, I think the fact that he went that route is going to take him a long way.
But he did burn a 6th-round pick because he dropped Christian Kirk.
Oh, fuck, you're right. God damn it.
Yeah, I hope these guys are better at practicing law than they are at playing fantasy football.
Yeah.
If I ever get into legal trouble, I'm not calling these guys.
They did ask us for fantasy advice, though, so we should,
That's
respect
true.
it.
Yeah, they need it. At least they're reaching out for help. That's the
It would
first
be
step
like
of
if
recovery. Reach out for help.
If we played in a make-believe lawyer league,
You're right. We'd be pretty bad.
and we would ask them to do a podcast about our league of lawyers, our league of make-believe lawyers, and ask how good we lawyered.
You asked your defendant if he did it on the stand and not before the trial. What are you thinking?
Exactly.
All right.
Oh,
I'm sure we'd have those.
That sounds like something like a Rick and Morty interdimensional cable channel. Like
Lawyer
oh
fantasy
yeah, it's
league.
good. Anyways,
All
keep
right.
going.
Are we ready for our last but not least faux show?
Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna start with a negative here, guys. He's quarterback, Aaron Rodgers at pick 509.
Oh,
That's tough. Obviously, you can't predict injuries, so that's not your fault. There was tons of hype around Aaron Rodgers and this Jets team in general. However, you taking him nearly 3 rounds before the next QB was off the board, that's on you. Him at QB 10, that is a monster reach. And now your mistake just got a multiplier because he's done. You got Jordan Love now.
When this guy took Rodgers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 other teams had already taken quarterbacks. So there was
like
9 other teams. So yeah, there was you could have easily chilled for a little bit.
Right. And you took the wrong guy in general, even if you were going to take a quarterback.
Right.
Yeah.
So hopefully you're doing the streaming thing and you're just going to keep trying till you find someone good. That's what I'd recommend. You got Jordan Love now. He did show promise, like we talked about in week 1. However, let's see what's happening. He's not playing a dog shit of a team that the Bears rolled out in week 1.
Yeah, and they're like 4% pressure rate.
I can't even talk about the Bears. It was so painful to watch. The rest of his team, though, he got CMC 104, ETN 309, Swift 709, love McCaffrey at 4th overall. He was 2nd overall for me, and really a 1A, 1B kind of situation. He gets to play with probably the most talented team and the best play caller in my mind in the whole league. He's going to be the tip of the spear for that offense all year round. He dropped like 30 points in week 1, and he didn't even play the whole game. He's just awesome. ETN, RB9 is when he took him. I prefer Ramondre slightly, but in a 0.5 PPR, I get it if you want to flip them. Talked about how I like that offense a lot, the Jaguars, that is, and just ETN himself is just so explosive. You're going to have weeks that he booms for you with his home run hitting ability and the fact that he's going to be your flex guy when you choose to play him. That's awesome.
Yeah, I like. Yeah, yeah, I'm really excited about Travis Etienne. Everybody was all worried about Tank Bigsby, and then Travis Etienne comes out and plays 80% of the snaps, and he had 5 catches. He didn't have 5 catches all year last year, so they're finally going to use him in the passing game, which was his strength coming into the NFL. He caught 102 passes at Clemson, so we know he's got that in his game.
The greatest ACC player is like good at football.
Right.
Who'd have thought?
This is going to be a smash pick in a good offense. Full-blown bell cow, explosive, can rip off a touchdown from anywhere on the field.
Yeah, we've talked about this Jags offense has answers all over the field, and ETN is going to be the beneficiary as much as Trevor Lawrence is going to be.
Yeah.
Swift, he was RB28 again. Would have gone Sanders, but I respect you trying to find the guy in Philly's backfield just because that is such a great offense to have the running back. And now with the injury to Gainwell and Penny being left on the bench, you might have maybe the pick of the draft if he keeps that kind of workload. I don't think he's going to be as good as he was Thursday, but he is against Minnesota. But he is going to have a lot of good weeks as long as he's getting like the number one option kind of workload. Wide receiver, he took Amari Cooper 404, Mike Williams 604, Nico Collins 804, Jerry Jeudy 909. I really like the value on Amari Cooper at wide receiver 17. I know the Browns offense has disappointed with Watson as their QB, but Cooper really hasn't. I think he's a very safe type of wide receiver too, someone that you can count on.
So Amari Cooper was taken as the wide receiver at 17 in this league.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Is that okay? You think you're okay with that? How about if I tell you that the wide receiver 18 was Devontae Smith?
Well, I mean, I can't help that.
Right, but why aren't you taking Devontae Smith there?
I would have
taken him over ETN.
Keenan Allen over Cooper for me too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agreed.
I like Amari, but I agree with both of those statements. As long as Keenan's healthy, he's going to be very good. Mike Williams, wide receiver 26, he was a reach. As far as I'm concerned, I would have taken any of the next 6 wide receivers over him.
Yeah, like Christian Kirk, and then not dropped him.
Mike Williams catches every pass like he's jumping into a pool, and then inevitably gets hurt. He's very boom bust, and now he has QJ nipping at his heels. Again, don't listen to Alex and Schultz.
Nipping at his heels like a tiny little puppy. There's no threat to you.
Dude, I cannot wait for him to go off. My God, it'd be so much fun. Nico Collins, wide receiver 36, again, is a reach. But I kind of get it. Like, I do. I would have gone elsewhere, but projecting those wide receivers in Houston, he was definitely the odds-on favorite to get the most targets. And then he's kind of backed that up after 1 week. So, we'll see. CJ Stroud passed a lot week 1. And then you got Jerry Jeudy as wide receiver 46. This is very important for your team. Because if Nico's your wide receiver 4, that's a lot better. And Jerry Jeudy is wide receiver 2 upside. And you really need it since you're missing that elite tier of wide receivers. And it sounds like Jerry Judy's going to play this week.
Yeah, he is.
I don't know how.
Yeah, I don't know how either. So, I mean, that is an awesome, awesome pick. And then going on the tight end room, he's got 2 really good ones. Obviously, he's got the best in Travis Kelce, which at 209, even with the injury.
It's the gift of the draft.
Yeah, that's just ridiculous. I don't know how he fell that low. And then you got Pat Freiermuth at 1004. Go ahead, Alex. You're going to say something about Kelce or just Pat Freiermuth?
Oh, no, I was agreeing with him.
Okay. But yeah, I love Kelce pick. He should have gone earlier. He's already back. This is going to be such a monster of an edge in a small lineup league where you only start like 7 guys. Having someone that gives you a 10-point plus edge on almost every other opponent is huge. Nothing more said. The guy is he's that guy.
I just can't believe in a 12-team redraft, someone has McCaffrey and Kelce.
Insane. Yeah. He got Freiermuth at tight end 11. Some of these teams that literally do not have a tight end, they should be trading for Freiermuth immediately upon hearing this podcast. Like he's such a luxury, and don't drop him, please. Someone will come for him, or at least they should, or maybe you start sending offers to these guys because you getting him where you got him it's theft.
You're trying to upgrade a wide receiver with Freiermuth
or a quarterback. I mean, because he lost Rodgers.
That's true too.
That would be my.
But move. I don't think you need to trade. I don't think you need to trade for quarterback in this. Like the waiver wire has to have some decent quarterbacks at some point.
Okay, but I mean,
at some point,
at the moment, all of them have backups.
Right. They're gonna when the bye weeks start. I know they get their roster expands by one spot, but it's still 5 guys on the bench. Is still a thin bench. Guys are going to get dropped.
I agree. But overall, this team is pretty good. If you can figure out the QB spot, McCaffrey, Kelsey, and then ETN at flex, those 3 spots, your running back spot, your tight end slot, your flex spot, that should be such an advantage weekly that I really do like this team if they can figure out their quarterback position.
Yeah, it's a solid team. I think the quarterback position's the Achilles heel of it.
And it just sucks, man. If you just didn't take Rodgers. Like, so early. But other than that, this team's awesome, in my opinion. Even with the wide receiver room being kind of suspect.
Yeah, it's a solid team. But yeah, I'm definitely trying to upgrade a wide receiver. I'm prioritizing that over quarterback. I think we can stream for a while.
Agreed. And using Freiermuth is a good piece to go get a receiver.
I mean, somebody has to go after him, right?
Right.
2 teams don't have a tight end.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was one of my. I like this team.
We'll just finish out the evening here with our winner, and I'm gonna pick the Monarchy. I think the Diggs, Lamb, Lamar start is just badass, and then followed up with Aaron Jones and Breece, Kittle. I'm looking at the list. You nailed this draft top to bottom, like we talked about pretty much. The DJ Moore value is ridiculous. Yeah, I think this team. This is a really good team, top to bottom, with star power, and deep star power. And I love that at running back. It was a 0 running back team who walked out with 2 really good running backs still. So yeah, I'm gonna go Monarchy.
I agree. That would be my pick as well. So my second choice, just to change things up, I would say Oi Kolma Va would be my
backup.
It's this is another solid team from top to bottom. You got Dak Prescott as your quarterback which I'm fine with. And you got Kirk Cousins as well. But you're rolling out Tony Pollard every week, top 5 running back, locked in, good offense, great role. He's got the goal line role, which he didn't have last year, adding on top of the receptions and all the carries. And then this receiving core is loaded. Tyreek Hill, Keenan Allen, DK Metcalf, Dallas Goedert. I mean, he's gotten off to a slow start to the year, but they were targeting him. They were clearly trying to get him the ball in his hands last night. Just drop your second defense. You don't need 2 defenses. Get rid of that. Go pick up another wide receiver. Go pick up what I would do. I would drop a defense, pick up when these high upside handcuff running backs. That's what I like to have on my benches. And then I'm taking Rashad White or James Conner, and I'm trading one of them to go get one more decent wide receiver.
Yeah, I would want another receiver on that team too.
Yeah,
I agree. Everything Alex said. So my top 2 choices, those are my top 2. So I'm going to go with third one, again, to mix it up. I'm going to go with Los Turnstiles. I love getting Tua as late as you did. Then you got Ramondre as your RB with Miles as a flex, Miles Sanders, or as, maybe your RB if it's a bad matchup for Ramondre. And then you got Justin Jefferson with maybe Cooper Kupp coming back as your second wide receiver would be awesome. But then Jahan Dotson will hold things down until then. And then Mark Andrews, tight end. So he's got a lot of star power as well, just a little bit riskier than, in my opinion, the Monarchy for sure. And then
I want to give a little love to Mile High too. I think that's another team. We have both Jamar Chase and Amon-Ra St. Brown, and you got Jordan Addison, and you got Michael Pittman, and you got Evan Ingram and Trevor Lawrence and Javonte Williams.
Yeah, that's another really solid team.
Yeah, and don't let Quentin Johnson hold you down. I think you'll be fine.
Cut his ass, Seabass.
Another one with 2 defenses, which you don't need to do either. But and you got Jonathan Taylor sitting there. So
Are we? Do we have a follow up with these guys? Do you know?
we,
No?
as of
Okay.
right now, we do not.
I would
Well,
love to see a follow up on this league.
if you guys are interested, we would love to do either a trade deadline playoff push or a postseason. We're open for whatever. We have a lot of fun at these. So
Yeah,
and we haven't gotten to do a follow up yet.
I'm excited for those.
But that's what I was gonna say. Is I'm really looking forward to those to see how some things shook out.
And your lawyers, we know you can afford it.
Yeah, exactly. It's not even expensive for you guys.
Even if you're bad lawyers, you can afford it.
Ooh.
That's true. Like even if you're like you're defending some guy who got drunk and peed outside, like that's who you got assigned to. Like you're that kind of lawyer. You're still good.
Yeah.
Like Dennis is a teacher. Buy him some crayons. Oh wait, no, he doesn't need crayons. He needs. What do you need? Do you need
pencils? Always math teacher.
Yeah, buy stuff for Dennis's classroom.
Yeah,
there. That's my plug. School supplies, baby.
Always.
Anyone?
And always, you can
got anything else?
You can reach out to us if you're on Twitter. DM us. I'm at Madison Madman.
I'm at A_Johnson FF. You can find it in the Yards for Fantasy Discord as well. Always happy to help.
Yeah, get me at Schultz, SCHU1TZY. Yeah, we're glad to help out with any questions you got. Interact with us.
Tell
read
us
our
what you
stuff.
liked. Roast us back.
Roast us back. Yeah, we're definitely open for that. But other than that, see you guys later.